constitutional law. Now, let's just look briefly at this Arizona law, because the lies that are being told about what the legislature and governor did in Arizona are beneath contempt. And it starts with this President Obama and the media and all the other morons who are race baiting. And we will link to the actual statute on marklevinshow.com in the summary. Among other things, it prohibits law enforcement officials and agencies of the state or counties or municipalities and political subdivisions in Arizona from restricting or limiting the enforcement of the federal immigration laws to less than the full extent permitted by federal law. Right there out of the box. They're saying we are enforcing federal law and we are directing our agencies and the people in our government to do no less. It's the president and Congress and the instrumentalities of the federal government who are rejecting their own laws. It requires officials and agencies to reasonably attempt to determine the immigration status of a person involved in a lawful contact where, quote, reasonable suspicion exists regarding the immigration status of the person, except if the determination may hinder or obstruct an investigation. So we hear this stuff. You're just going to pick people up off the street. No, you're not. Sharpton, that blowhard who we'll listen to in a moment, says today, well, we're going to march there. We'll let them pick us up. Nobody's going to pick you up, you moron. You don't even know what this law says. You ambulance-chasing buffoon. Says here, it stipulates the law that if the person is arrested, the person's immigration status must be determined before the person is released and must be verified with the federal government. Oh, the hell of it. Can you imagine? Shame. Stipulates that now listen to this, that a law enforcement official or agency cannot solely consider race, color, or national origin when implementing these provisions, except as permitted by the U.S. or Arizona Constitution. So it recognizes current federal and state law respecting the civil rights, the constitutional rights of individuals. It is saying there will not be any profiling based on skin color. That's in this law. It specifies that a person is presumed to be lawfully present if the person provides any of the following: a valid Arizona driver's license, a valid Arizona non-operating identification license, a valid tribal enrollment card or other form of tribal ID, a valid federal, state, or local government-issued identification if the issuing entity requires proof of legal presence before issuance. Oh, the horror of those conditions. Well, ladies and gentlemen, they apply to you and me, too. When a cop stops you in a car, he says, can I see your identification? No, excuse me, you're violating my civil rights. The hell is that? If you're loitering around and a cop is suspicious, and rightly so that you're loitering around, hey, who are you? Where are you from? Can I see your ID? We all know this happens. Even happens to really, really white men. Let's see here. Requires that if a person is convicted of any state or local law or discharged from imprisonment or on the assessment of any monetary obligation imposed, ICE or U.S. Customs and Border Patrol protection must be immediately notified. And it goes on, and it is in this vein. This is not, in any respect, a racist law. But it is a law that seeks to enforce federal law. And rather than thanking the state of Arizona for upholding federal law, rather than thanking the state of Arizona for having the guts to do what the feds won't do, the usual suspects are out and about. We have some of the Republicans saying, all right, look here, we got to worry about future elections. How about we worry about the future of the country? Or we have the Democrats, the DNC, putting out statements on Obama. I need the women and the young and the Hispanics and the blacks to rise. We have the phony ethnic front groups who do not want the law enforced and do not want the border secured, who are obviously working with the governments of other countries and their consulates and their ambassadors not to promote American citizenship, not to promote the American Constitution and society, but to promote foreign cultures and to import them into this country. And in response, we get what? A government, a federal government, at the political level that's utterly impotent. As a matter of fact, we have a president of the United States who refuses and has failed to enforce existing federal law. There are 500,000 illegal aliens in Arizona. They are overwhelmed. They have closed hospitals. Their public schools are overwhelmed. The people are concerned on the border about their safety. You have enormous criminality, virtual terrorism on the other side of the border with these drug groups. It's bleeding into our country. The sheriffs are begging for help. And in response, the legislature and governor of Arizona have acted. And what does the federal government do? We're going to hold hearings. We're going to investigate. We're going to send lawyers from the Civil Rights Division down there. We're going to send Sharpton to march in Phoenix. We're going to work everybody up. Well, I'll tell you what. The state of Arizona deserves our support. You should call the governor's office, Jan Brewer. And here we have the men, hot off the presses, Mexican president slams Arizona immigration policy. The Mexican immigration policies are the most racist you could possibly imagine. Against Guatemalans and Ecuadorians and on and on and on. The most racist policies you can imagine. More when we come back.
Mark Levin.